Hey guys, welcome back, MVPs. How are you? I hope all is well with you guys today. So, as you can see, I'm not here physically today. Your girl has been under the weather. Whatever this new strand of H1PV, flu, vid, COVID thing going around, I got that. So you probably can hear a little bit of my voice, but the show must go on. No excuses. Last week, my baby girl was home, so I wasn't able to get on here. Plus, I was sick on top of that because we both was sick. We both was home. So she got me sick. Apparently, it's affecting children that are ages 5 and under the worst. So that's right at my demographic where my child is. And then, us parents are getting it because of that. That thing took me out. And so I'm finally at about 95%. So the show must go on. I'm not 100% yet, but if you miss my face, I miss yours too. But let's get started. Hopefully, I'll feel much better 100% next week and we can jump on. But I couldn't miss another week with all the craziness going on in the world. Like what is happening for real in the world. Obviously I gotta over to some of the stuff we were going to talk about last week, but we're gonna get into a lot of the stuff from the we talked about the inauguration on my other page, Pretty Politico. So I'm not gonna go too deep into all the Donald Trump, the Elon Musk, the Nazi salute of it all. But if you want to hear my opinion on that stuff, particularly pertaining to politics, then you can follow me on my other page, Pretty Politico. And you guys know that link is in my bio somewhere. Or if not in my bio, it's definitely on my link tree. So go there for all things politics. But we're not here for that. Over here, we talk solely pop culture. So let's just jump into it. I mean, can you believe everything that we've been going through lately? So let me get into the politics. I mean, the business of it all. So I just want to say welcome back to another episode of Give This Girl a Mic. If you're new here, welcome to the family. Grab a snack, grab a drink, and settle in. This is a space where we keep it real, we keep it smart, and most importantly, we keep it us. We keep it G, baby. So now, all right, I don't want to go too much into all the other housekeeping, but I do want to say please like, comment, and subscribe because as you guys know, we're continuing to grow community here. If you guys want to support the page in order to help me remove that little restream ticker, you can do that by supporting me here on my Cash App below. It's Nico Nicole. So if you have any business inquiries, if you guys want to do any collaborations, or things of that nature, you can hit me up here for business inquiries at givethisgirlamike@gmail.com. So feel free to do that. So now let's set the tone for the year. For me, 2025 so far has been about alignment and achievement. We talked a little bit about that last week. It's helping me move into my purpose. Like the vision is crystal clear. I have always wanted to talk politics. I've always wanted to talk pop culture, and so this year I'm forcing myself to do that. That's why I'm here, even with my little emoji. No excuses. We're making it work. We're gonna do the best we can with what we got. That's all 2025 is going to be about. 2024 is about letting the past go. All things were revealed. 2025 is all things will be healed. So that's what we're going to be focusing on: reflection and gratitude. But as you guys know, last week was a whirlwind. My baby had a birthday as well, so I was busy with that. I think coming off the back of that is also why I got sick. We celebrated her birthday in style. It was beautiful. If you guys want to see the behind the scenes a little bit, I did post a clip of it on my TikTok page. So if you guys want to follow me there, you can follow me on all my platforms, which are I have a YouTube, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads, Insta, you have it, you name it. I'm giving this girl a mic on all the platforms. So feel free to follow me at any place you desire to your liking. Also, just at this point, stick a fork in me. I'm done. I don't have no more capacity to add anything else to my plate. And I think we all feel like that coming off of the holidays, especially coming into this new administration and watching the meat and potatoes of it all. We all are just taking care of ourselves and doing the best we can right now. So I just want to take a few moments and just appreciate the blessings that have come into our lives. And I wouldn't trade any of the things that I've been going through for anything, especially coming off the heels of the LA fires. As you guys know, last week, LA had so many wildfires, and I'm sending thoughts and prayers to the families that were affected. It was really heart wrenching, gut wrenching to watch all of those families and the stories. I watched one particular story with a woman saying, talking about her father, who had been a leader in bringing a lot of business to, I believe, what is the place called? Altadena, and she talked about how her dad was 80 years old and he was supposed to come, but he stayed in the bed, kind of like went down with the ship, essentially, very much Titanic. And she was crying because he had did so much for the community and he was such a pillar of the community. And the fact that he didn't want to, he called her, he said, "I'll be right there, baby." And he never came. And her nephew was in the house with him. It was like, "I'm trying to get Pop to come, but he don't want to move." And then she talked to him about 11 o'clock at night. That was the last time she heard from him. The next morning they come and he was laid in the bed. So a lot of people who built their legacy, their life, they didn't want to leave their homes, especially the elderly. They didn't want to put up a fight to they put up the fight to try to stay. He probably tried to, you know, get the smoke out, get the fire out, realized he couldn't, and just kind of gave up the fight. So it was like a beautiful story, but also a tragedy at the same time. So my thoughts and prayers are with her and with her family and all the families that were affected by the fire. I pray for peace and I pray for your healing and that this chapter leads to great blessings down the line. Many of the fires affected were in Altadena, as I mentioned, which were highly respected and well-to-do African Americans, and also Pacific Palisades, which is a city in LA. Also, getting a lot of backlash is the mayor of LA, Karen Bass. But according to Amanda Seals, our cousin, she mentioned that many of the local indigenous people said that there were certain areas that burned and never should have built in those areas. If they listen to indigenous people, if they listen to black people, I always say that, if you listen to us, then a lot of the stuff that y'all go through, you wouldn't be going through. So the indigenous people told them, don't build in these areas. This is like obviously hundreds of years ago, but they didn't listen. They built in those areas anyway. And so when we see such tragedies that could have been avoided, it makes it even more of a tragedy. On to another thing. Beyonce, she did donate $2.5 million to the California wildfires. Many expressed that she should have given more. The thing about life is, for some people, it's never enough. You can never do enough. You can never be enough. So they said she should have gave more money because at the end of the day, you're never able to please these people in this day and age. You damned if you do and you damned if you don't. But the fires affected a lot of celebrities like Janae Aiko. It affected Tina Knowles, who lost her Malibu home in bungalow. And Janae Aiko, if you can see here, is really small, but she wrote a heartfelt message um, to people who were just unremorseful with her, saying, "You're a celebrity, you got it like that." And so she wrote a letter saying how she has a little bit of money, but she had to clap back, stating that she worked really hard for her home and that her children grew up in that home. And I remember, even this is a throwback person. You guys probably don't even remember her, but y'all know Cree Summers from A Different World. This made me think of that. I remember she did like a tour of her house, and her house is really cozy. If you guys get a chance, just go on YouTube and look up her home. It's beautiful, and it's like her dream home. I don't know if she lost her home in the fires, but I'm just thinking about her particularly because she's not rich, but she is a celebrity, and she's done like a few voiceovers, like a lot of voiceovers, like Susie from Rugrats and things like that. But they make money where they can make money, and they get residual checks probably from a different world where they can. But these people are living from pillar to post just like the rest of us. So especially like third tier celebrities like a Janae Aiko, for example, they aren't rich. And for people to just kind of come at her in her downtrodden time, it just tells you where the hearts and minds of people are, and that we really are going into another time frame. Like we're in a whole nother multiverse right now where people are be so heartless. How could you be so? That's how it feels right now. And it's kind of sad to see that people don't give a damn about one another right now. But at the end of the day, I just am praying for the people who are affected, and I hope they can come out of it. Obviously, people like Tina Knowles is going to be fine. But people like a Janae Aiko or like a smaller celebrity, they aren't always going to have it. Or the local people, like I talked about that girl and her dad who's 80 years old. And then for a lot of them, they were not able to get fire insurance because the fire insurance decided to pull out at the last minute when many of them didn't even know that they had lost their fire insurances. So a lot of them are going through so much right now. So we really truly have to keep these people in our prayers. On to a little bit of a brighter note. You guys might notice that I have this little meme here. So this is a picture of me. And because I'm sick today, I said, you know what? I don't need my face, but let me have my face. So what I did was take this actual picture of me and I put it into AI, and they created this little moment, and I actually like her. I think she came out cute enough. And I was like, okay, well done. I think so. We're gonna be using her, and eventually I'm gonna try to get her to be like a talking little head. But I didn't have enough time to try to figure that out all today. I've been playing around with Soros. As you guys know, if you go on my page, you see the little Drake meme, and Drake is like the Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, that's me playing around with Soros. So we're gonna be having a little bit of fun with AI. And if you guys know, on my previous lives, I have like played around with AI a lot and talked to AI. So that this is like the first step in me incorporating AI a little bit, because hey, you got to be with the future. You got to get with the future. And so on another bright note, the hot topic of today for me, baby, is Zendaya. Her ring, the looks, the engagement. She is por la cultura, like for the culture. She is everything to me right now. She is officially engaged. Congratulations. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Sis came dripping with class, and that rock, chef's kiss. Zendaya popped out looking like Hollywood royalty, baby. And simple accessories. You know, her and Law are like a match made in heaven. Sometimes you have muses like Prince and Babylon. What they call it? Was it Babylonia or something like that? Apollonia. Like they were just like a match made in heaven. To me, that is Zendaya and Law. Like they are just beautifully like melded together, or like Quincy and Michael Jackson. Like sometimes when the vibe is right, it's just meant to be. And that is for sure Zendaya and Law. And that rock, look at it. That's a bad man pajama, the big kahuna. I mean, just no announcement, just vibes and pure D elegance. But with that, well, before I get into that, but before I get into, actually, I will get into that. But with that was a little bit of drama surrounding baby mama culture. So I love that Zendaya got her ring, and there's a tweet that says, "See how Zendaya got a ring instead of a baby? Yeah, yeah, yeah." And that's what I hope for a lot of brown girls, brown and black girls, like that we do focus on getting the ring, because in our culture right now it's this whole a ring ain't nothing but a piece of paper, but the Constitution is a piece of paper, money is a piece of paper, that degree you got that you brag about is a piece of paper. So why wouldn't you want the piece of paper that allows you to have legal responsibility for this man that is going to have all this legal responsibility over your child? make it make sense. So I never liked, especially being a black woman who is married, and I don't have a lot of married friends, and it's been really hard to kind of help them see the light, because a lot of them just do not see the purpose of marriage anymore. They're like downing it and saying, oh, especially before Rihanna got engaged, they were like, look at Rihanna's not, but then Rihanna got engaged. And that's a whole nother thing. Rihanna ended up being one too. Yes, she got the ring, she engaged, but she didn't get the marriage, because now you see what's happening. They're in court arguing whether or not they should call Rihanna a wife or the child's mother. And because she doesn't have the paperwork, the judge basically granted the prosecutors of ASAP Rocky to say, yeah, you could just call her the child's mother. When How beautiful it would have been if on paper she would have been able to say she's the wife, because that's what they wanted. They wanted to legitimize ASAP Rocky to make him come off more professional. And usually you don't trust a man who don't have a wife. They only trust businessmen who have wives. You don't see no billionaires without a wife. You understand? The wife legitimizes you. And once these black women start learning that, myself as a black woman, I learned that early, because my mother didn't play like that. She was like, you better not bring no baby before you bring a ring. And you got to do it the right way. And it feels so good once you do it the right way, and the way it legitimizes you. Even times my husband has been in the hospital, they will question me because I'm black. They're like, you got to be a wife to come up in here. That's how he treat me. And I'll pull out my ring like, Uno. Throw that like space. You throw that. Yeah, baby. Let me upstairs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they roll their eyes at me because they so used to black women coming in there crying and saying they person is up in the hospital, but they can't get in the room because they not a wife. Nope. I said, Uno, I am the wife. Bitch. But yeah, they will try you. So I hope that this is a lesson. That little tweet, a little shade, is a lesson to black women to get ourselves together, and to, before we pop out those babies for 18 years, that we actually make sure we are putting the steps in order. Order my steps in your word. Lead me, guide me, carry me home. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I love that for Zendaya. And I wrote that, look, we've seen it across the board, from everyday folks to celebrities like Summer Walker, Coi Leray, and even like more like Halle Bailey, putting all the girls to shame. You can't compete where you can't when you don't compare. So I hope the girlies get the message and get the commitment for they before they commit to these men. Because as much as I love Halle, I hate how it all panned out for her in this messy situation, being with a YouTuber. It is diminishing her brand every single time he does some sort of antic. And now she has to deal with this for 18 years. 18 years. He got one of your kids. He got you for 18 years. The message we need to take from Zendaya: commitment before we commit to these men. Boom, shakalaka. And just like that. And I have next up, what do y'all think about these rings? Okay, so my favorite ring of all time is none other than J-Lo's pink diamond ring. To me, it was iconic. It was the moment. It was like an honorable mention to Katie. I love her rings too. Katie, Princess Kate. And she had Diana rings. So that was beautiful. But the diamond, the pink, chef's kiss to me. That was like my favorite ring ever. It was just, look at it. It's just Ben did that. Even though we see the love story, they tried 2.0, didn't work, but the ring deserves its own moment always. Speaking of a marriage that didn't last the test of time in terms of what they were, is Twitch and his wife. I hate to say. So, the media has been exploiting Twitch's legacy via his wife, and it's just really really sad to see. Um yeah, so let's switch gears and talk about it a little bit. Switch's legacy is heartbreaking, how his life is being dissected after his passing. I really hate that for him. And all the private parts of his life are being exposed. He has such a clean cut image, which you know how important that is for black people. I think for black people, we rarely get to see a black man who had a positive image. So to sully his name after his death is just an example of how sad things are when they occur like this. For his family to be coming out, his friends to be coming out and trying to defend his name, and this woman continues to say, "No, y'all can try to defend his name, but this is my story. I'm still gonna sully him." It's like you got to know when to hold him and know when to fold him, and I think it's time for her to just let this story go. I know she needs to eat and needs money, but she's also a talented dancer herself. She could go get a job on So You Think You Could Dance or something like that, or Dance with the Stars, or be a judge. She could do something. She is very talented in her own right. To now try to come off him, it's just a little shady to me, and I hate that for Twitch. I hate that for his family, and I especially hate that for his mom, that she has to suffer and watch this woman sully his name. And I know people are like, "Oh well, he married her." Yeah, he married her, but that's another part of the marriage part. Like, marriage is the half and a whole. Like, you're not supposed to tear a person down after they pass away. Like, that's when you want to hold their legacy the most. Now he got his kids going to grow up and see all this on TV. Nothing goes away on social media, and they're going to have to make a decision about who their dad was. And some, you know how that is, that might split the kids down the middle. Some of them might end up going to live with grandma, because once they get a certain age, you can't do nothing with them. But for me, my takeaway is that for black men especially, it feels rare to have a figure that is so universally positive, and now that image is being tarnished. I just personally feel like she should have let the man rest in peace. I'm praying for his family as they navigate all of this mess that she's created. And I say she's created because it really did, it was unnecessary, and the timing of it all, and it's almost like justifying her dating this black man. In order to justify it, she had to remind people that he was a bad guy. Like, what is the point of that? When he literally had a squeaky clean image. It's like the fact that he had a squeaky clean image really upset her. It really bothered her. And she couldn't sleep at night. She had to let us know he was not all you guys thought he was. He was not all what it cracked up to be. And that's just really sad, because you got to let people rest. And if you believe in like spirituality and religion and things like voodoo, whatever, y'all know karma's a mother, and that stuff will come back and bite her in the behind. Speaking of black men and their image and things like that, I wanted to talk a little bit about bro talk, red pill culture, and the state of black media. This episode today, I would call both black media, the state of black media, because that's what the bulk of this conversation is going to be about today. um I wanted to talk about the explosion of bro talk and the red pill culture. What made me think about this was, as I was like looking at people saying, "What is up with this talk? What is up with this red pill talk? Why is all these people talking about this? And this is stuff we should be talking about privately." Specifically talking about like Twitch, and coming off of that whole talk about like bros and alpha males and this. Even I think FD Signifier just kind of came out the other day and said he had an amazing video on the Kendrick Lamar versus the uh Drake beef. It was 10 out of 10. I think last time I checked, it was like 3 million views. It could be at like 5 million views at this point. I wouldn't be surprised. Let me see how many views is it, cuz it was amazing. It was an amazing well documented video that he did with, yeah, 5.9 million. Is I'm What the Culture's Feeling, Drake versus Kendrick beef. I recommend everybody, if you haven't had a chance, to go look at that video. It is stellar. So he did a follow-up video to it, and in the video he talks about Drake being an alpha, a beta male. And in the video, he discusses how Drake is effectively never felt confident enough in himself in order to walk into the power of that hot white light that Jay-Z always talks about. And because he wasn't able to fulfill and walk into that power, he always felt like he was cosplaying and had imposter syndrome. Even to the point when he's at his top, and when most people are at their top, they're telling you, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man, right? But at the top, Drake is still saying, no new friends, no new friends, and like nervous and kind of geeky, because he never walked in the purpose of who he actually truly is as Drake, right? The number one rapper, the king. He never, and with that, it allowed Kendrick to come in and kind of take that power. So with just thinking about all this, it led me to realize that the explosion of bro talk and real pill culture, especially in the Black community, is so fascinating and troubling, because these spaces continue to grow. And on one hand, it's like the first time in history where Black men and women openly share their grievances. But are we really listening to each other? Because I realized that in no other time that we've had, Black men and women have been able to talk. Think about it. Think about the landscape of Blacks in America, right? Or Blacks wherever. I guess if you were in other countries, maybe like, and it was mostly Black people, like Jamaica or Africa, or some parts of Brazil. But it's specifically in America, where we are like a subculture, right? Even though we are the most prominent culture, we're a subculture of even that culture. We haven't had safe spaces to just talk. We haven't been able to just say, this is what's going on with one another, and this is what I feel, this is what I feel. This is the first time in history where we've had the education, the space, and the language to talk to one another about our feelings. And to me, it reminds me of a conversation that Nikki Giovanni had with James Baldwin. Let me let y'all listen to that.
Stand it. I don't understand how on one hand, you say you're talking about like a Black man, that he can be nothing in the streets and so fearful in his home, that he can be brutalized by some white person somewhere, and then come home and treat, me, my mother, the same way that he was being treated, which perpetuates. I mean, you take somebody like me. I'm not married, right?
Yes, but Nikki,
I couldn't play my mother.
Yes, I know.
You know what I mean? I just couldn't deal with it. I said, no, this won't work.
But Nikki, it is also true that since your mother played that role, you haven't got to.
I couldn't.
But you haven't got to. That's the point. Because she did.
But her mother did.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes, but that's how we got here. What I really am trying to say is I don't want us to underestimate the price paid for us. I know something about that. I don't know if it happens to a woman, but it happens to a man. You cannot do anything. They got you. They got you by the throat and by the balls. And of course it comes out. It comes out, where would it come out? It comes out in the person closest to you.
I was going to say that's so wrong, because what you perpetuate...
Nikki, it may be wrong.
I hate to use those kind of terms.
But Nikki, it may be wrong. Of course it's wrong. But we're dealing with human beings.
I've seen how the community, and even today in 1971, even today there are divisions based on those same kind of problems.
That's right.
So that the Black men say, in order for me to be a man, you walk 10 paces behind me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
it means nothing. I can walk 10 paces behind a dog. It means nothing to me. But if that's what he needs, I'll never get far enough behind him for him to be a man. You know what I mean?
Look,
I'll never walk that slowly.
Look.
Woo! I'll never walk that slow. And this is why it's so important to have our own platforms where we can openly discuss our grievances with one another in a safe environment. I think the conversations are needed. I've always thought they are needed. It's the way in which we're discussing things with each other, the way we're so harsh with each other. If we can come to it in a place of love, admiration, the way Nikki and Baldwin did, I think we can move the conversation along and not just have this rage bait, this clickbait of a conversation between one another. So that's what my hope is for the state of black media and where we move forward. And I think now that we got, that's where we're moving. And this leads me to Mr. Roland Martin. You know, he's been holding down the fort. I just want to give him his flowers because I don't hear a lot of young people talking about him. The reason I know about Roland Martin is because my mom used to listen to his radio station and his news shows and things like that. And whenever she gets a moment, she reminds me to, did you turn on the Roland today? Did you see what Roland's talking about today? So that she can keep me abreast to what's going on and not just pop culture, pop news, but within black news. He has a network called the Black Star Network, and I suggest anybody under 30 years old go and subscribe to his page. And I'm in my 30s and I listen to him, and he shows news media that a lot of us are not getting. Yes, we have Amanda Seales, and she's doing her, and Angela Rye, and there are some others as well that are bridging the gap between black media and black youth. But sometimes you got to get it from the OGs. You got to get it from the horse's mouth. And I watched Roland's podcast this week, and he broke it all down. He talked about how black media spaces are often undervalued or sabotaged by their own people. Roland speaks about the idea of bringing your black eye home. I love when he said it, bring your black eyes home, like EYE, right? And I think a lot of us should start saying that to one another. Like if you're in your dorm, if you're at work, you should say, bring your black eyes home, and EYE, and make sure that the people in your community know about Roland Martin. They know about some of the other political commentators who are talking about bridging the gap between the elders and the youth. Because if we do not learn our history, we are bound to repeat it. So Roland discusses where is the appetite for our eyes to be home. He says that black people in the black space that want to operate in silos as individuals, but we don't want to work together. This to me explains the villainization of Roland Martin. If you look at pop culture and pop media, they don't say nice things about Roland, especially after he supported Kamala. And everybody just turned against him because he tells the truth. That's why he created his own network, in order to be able to say what he wanted to say on his own terms and tell black culture what's really going on and not whitewash it. So when he was supporting Kamala, everybody just kind of lost their minds on him. And I saw many outlets blackball Roland. And so I personally, just want to give him his flowers now so that you guys can learn who he is if you guys haven't already heard of him. But he's one that everybody needs to watch. But as I watched him last week, he talked about the pyramid scheme. Roland called it this a pyramid scheme. And I saw this here. No matter how bad things get, I remind myself I could be trapped in a pyramid scheme, convinced I'm an actual business owner. So it's basically poor people building wealth for the rich while we fight over the crumbs. I guess that's why we call it a pyramid schemes, because the slaves built the pyramids and the praise went to the pharaohs. You understand me? Many of the black media outlets want you to use advertisement funding. They say all you need to hear to get you to buy the ebook, to buy the product, but it's a worthless product. It will add no value to you, and then you'll be stuck with 20 pieces of an off-brand product that you can't sell. That is the pyramid scheme, and that's what a lot of these black media outlets are doing to us. The first that comes to mind is Tubi. Did you guys know that Tubi has the same owner as Fox News? And this is very important now with this climate in the state of our country. So Tubi has the same owner as Fox News. Roland discussed how Fox uses black creators to grow their networks. In the past, long before Fox News, they had shows like Living Color, but they end up having a Super Bowl special where the black eyeballs were so tuned in to In Living Color that it outperformed the Super Bowl, thus creating the halftime special. Our eyeballs have value. This leads me to Zeus. Did you know that Tubi and Zeus, despite their messy content, get more advertising dollars than a show like Roland Martin's? And you know, Roland Martin don't curse. He's very positive. He just had MLK's father on the MLK's son on the other day, and he just has such clean, good black media. But something like Zeus or Tubi get more eyeballs, and so they get more advertisement, even though they show stuff like the baddies. They got Black China Mama up there and her up there fighting. They got Cabernet, Jocelyn Hernandez, and her pimping out them girls and disrespecting them. Bobby Lights and all these crazy people. They got Baddies West, Baddies East, Baddies Caribbean. Now I just saw a recent one that said Baddies Africa. This stuff is going all the way. It's brain rot. And this is the stuff they're supporting, because the more they can have us buffoonerying like Snoop was at the inauguration the other day, the less we are focused on coming together and saving ourselves. So why is there no news on BET? Why is there no news on Zeus? All because these networks and outlets are for black eyeballs, and they don't want us what educated. That's why they're taking away all the books that we love, the Bluest Eyes, Toni Morrison books. They're taking those Zora Neale Hurston books. They're taking these out of the schools. They don't want you to learn about that. They're going to reverse Brown v. Board of Education, just like they reversed Roe versus Wade. And these are the things they want you to focus on. They want you to focus on Christian Rock and Blueface. We've been seeing so much media about them in the last couple of weeks, and we hadn't heard from them in months, right? Because that's what they want. The advertisers get more money for your black eyeballs to be looking at stuff that does not serve you, that brain rots, than somebody like a Roland who gives you and feeds you information on how to grow yourself as a person, grow yourself as a business, and how to enhance your livelihoods. They don't want you to enhance nothing. They want you on the pole. It's actually crazy. And these are the things where our black eyeballs go to, because it's quick, it's a dopamine shot, and it's entertaining to have rage bait. And that's what they're feeding you guys. So Roland created his network, which I told you was the Black Star Network, after working many years on major news outlets. At one point, oh, and I have one more thing to say about this. This keeps coming up in my mind, but I keep forgetting it. This one last thing that I have to say about Natalie Nunn. Natalie Nunn, baddies. Okay, so the thing about her, she is a suburban white girl. Let's be honest, her mama white. She didn't really know her daddy like that, right? And I grew up in the hood for real. And so when I meet girls like that, I used to meet girls who be wanted from the suburbs, who want to be friends with me just to get what the hood experience was like. That's Natalie Dunn. She had never experienced a hood a day in her life, so she created her own hood reality because the hood was always fun for her. It was an escape from her actual reality in a way she could tap into what she thought black culture was. So you are not even getting fed from Natalie what black culture is. You're getting fed a person who perceives black culture through the lens of a white mama. Think about it. You are getting baddies, and she is making money off the black culture, and none of her culture is black. She come from a white mama. So she's perceiving what the hood is, what a baddie is. She's the Drake of this stuff. She is a beta female. Okay, I'm gonna leave that there. So now let's go back to Roland. He created his network, which is the Black Star Network, after many years working on major news networks. At one point, Byron Allen expressed that he wanted to fund Roland Martin, but he never came through. Same with Tyler Perry. When he was trying to buy BET, They came to Roland first, who already has an established audience. I told you my mama be watching him religiously, listening to his radio show religiously. So these people have followed him for years, and obviously I'm a Roland person because my mom put me on as a kid. But they didn't. But Tyler, they didn't let Tyler buy BET. And now, if you look up the owners of BET, you'll see why. Because they want to control what the black eyeballs consume. This is why they do this. Side note, a positive thing about Tyler. I will say Tyler did call out the insurance companies for canceling policies amid the LA fires. He says he will do all he can to help the LA victims. So with that, I'm going to leave it there. Much respect to Tyler Perry. But back to Roland Martin. TV One was another black owned media outlet that Roland Martin became the face of the network. But once again, once the network became successful, kind of like what happened on Tubi, once Fox News once Fox became successful, they took a living single out, and you see how Fox News is now. And now they're gonna do the same thing with Tubi. That's why this all started, because Roland Martin was talking about how much money Tubi is making because of your black eyeballs. And just as soon as y'all get used to all these black new up and coming movie producers and directors on Tubi, the owner is going to take them out. He's gonna remove them just like he removed in Living Color, and he's going to put his right wing agenda on. And by the way, this is Rupert Murdoch. He stepped down as the co-chair, but this guy right next to him, that's his son. Another little Murdoch. So don't get it twisted. He's still in power. You know, if you look it up, you can kind of write on my page. He's not stepped down. Yeah, he stepped down and put his son as the new owner. So that's his son right here next to him. So that's why I chose that particular picture. But yes, just like I mentioned, we need to use our eyeballs in order to come together, because we as black people need to understand that the storm is headed our way. With the election going the way it did, with media, and you see what happened to TikTok the other day, being rebooted, Children of the Corn, and then coming back to life. The dumbification of people via the algorithm is coming. The storm is brewing. It's going to be bro talk this, bro talk that, as I mentioned earlier, or maybe even some rage bait will get the people going. This media machine is going to push out more poor quality, low value content. Okay? The people who play this kind of stuff, the baddies, the Snoop Dogg stuff, those are the people that are going to be rewarded because of this. It's giving the people what the algorithm says they want. So they're going to keep feeding you more and more of that kind of stuff. And if you allow that, the dumbification of you is going to take you. Remember that movie, Idiocracy? I posted it on my page a few weeks ago. That's where we're going to be going. And because of that, that will keep you poor, that will keep you unhealthy, and that will keep you in a state of lack. And this is the beginning of an oligarchy. The companies want you to work within an existing framework. That's where the gatekeepers like Oprah, Byron Allen, and Tyler Perry come in. There is no authentic way to fix things that are rigged. You understand that? And there is a clip of Roland talking about Oprah. He did a whole breakdown on the Tubi and all this. This is where I kind of got some of this meat and potatoes from. But when I watched it, it was so deep to me that I figure you guys need to know this, because you guys are going to want to go outsourcing now to get information, because it's no fun to just be dumb, broke, and ignorant. That's how you think we got into slavery in the first place. Why you think they didn't want us reading? You want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book, right? I know that's an old quote, but I remember Jada saying it first. Jada, right? He said, "You want to hide something from a ninja, put it in the book," and it's like the sentiment, and they know that. So while they put this big book of Project 2025 out, you don't see that on social media. You might see people now breaking it down after the fact, but it's too late. And forearmed is forewarned is forearmed. and you have to prepare yourself to what is coming. The state of our country is shifting, is changing. So people like Oprah Winfrey, like Tyler Perry, they're gatekeepers. They're prepared to be the people who, you know, I don't want to say it, but they prepared to be those people who keep you enslaved, essentially. You think black people stayed enslaved just from white people? No, we was keeping our own down too. So they're prepared to play those roles because they've played those roles for so long. And like I mentioned, Oprah, she and Discovery co-founded OWN in 2011. Shortly after Winfrey ended her talk show, Discovery brought a 25% stake in OWN in 2017 for $70 million. Rowland goes on to explain that when OWN launched in the first 2 weeks, numbers were through the roof. Why? Because black women kept coming back. We kept coming back and coming back. But they said, where's the stuff for us? They were seeing Jenny McCarthy and the Judge and Eric Logan, that's the former president of OWN. And he spent 380 million of his own money in his first year. The network was hemorrhaging money because they were showing the Judge and stuff. Until one show that did 466,000 views, which was 70% of black people, and that was Sweetie Pies. So please be clear, Tyler Perry did not save OWN. It was Sweetie Pies. Rowland goes on to say that Tyler Perry was 2.0, but everybody give him the credit for OWN, but it was not Tyler. And the network was shocked at the black numbers, at which point the station pivoted to black women. So they said, boom, let's try one more. They gave us Beverly Johnson Family and another one in DJ Khaled voice. They gave us Oprah called Diana and fixed that relationship. Then we had the LaToya Jackson show. We had Flex and Shanice. We had Deion Sanders show. And then Roland talked about the last show that starred white women was about three old white ladies. It was called Golden Sisters, and that was in 2013. And that was the last show on with a white lead. Ever since then, it started with Sweetie Pies, and everything after that has been black. So my question is, what happened to premium prestigious content? And this is what I'm trying to give you guys. That's why I pride myself coming on here and having the slides coming correct, because I want to bring that back. I want to bring back premium prestige content. So on Oprah Network from 2016 to 2022, that was, to me, is prime. It had Queen Sugar, David Makes Man by Michael B. Jordan, which was from 2019 to 2021. Have and Has Nots, which was 2013 to 2021. Greenleaf, which was 2016 to 2020. Delilah, which was in 2021. And another show of my favorite, which was Ambitions, that was in 2019. Love Is, that was probably the best show she ever had on her station. That was in 2018. That was her best show, and that was my favorite own era down. And then in 2020, Roland mentions that Oprah's ownership was 50-50. She sold her stake back to Discovery. Oprah sold most of her stake in the Oprah Winfrey Network to Discovery on December 22nd, 2020. This is at the end of COVID now. So you know that COVID thing, which she should have been doing good because everybody was home. But she sold it after everybody already been home. So that means people were just not watching Oprah Network during that time. You understand? So she has been hemorrhaging money because of the network. In exchange, because Oprah does not understand the black eyeballs. In exchange for 1.34 million shares of Discovery stock worth about 36.5 million, Winfrey's company Harpo Inc. sold 20.5% of ownership in the network. The deal increased Discovery's ownership of OWN to 95%. So Oprah basically doesn't own any of it anymore. Discovery first bought a 25% stake in OWN back in 2017 for $70 million. So she sold it for $35 million. They bought it for $70 million. So that suggests that the 2020 deal that the network's value had decreased since the 2017 deal. You see that? She sold she Discovery bought it for 70 million and she sold it for 36 million. Look at that big old loss. Mm, 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 mm. During this time, the decline of the network began to turn to focus more on reality TV. So from 2020 until present, you can see shows that mimics Housewives, like Love and Marriage Huntsville, The Bell Collective, Ready to Love, all the same show, if you really think about it. And those shows target who? Me and you, girl. Black women are the target. All of Oprah's shows then and now are targeted towards black women. And there is a list of the shows she has on Wikipedia if you guys care to look that up. The irony is it is Sheila Johnson. She is the co-founder of BT. Did an interview where she said they need more black content on the OWN network in order to survive. Oprah didn't listen to her until it was too late. So that's another thing. We have to listen to our elders, which is why I'm kind of pleading to you guys today to start listening to the Roland Martins of the world and reading Sheila Johnson's book. She has a beautiful book and learning about what the elders have told us because we're so busy listening to Sexy Red and I Love Doechii and all that stuff, but that is not the focus. That is not the focus. The focus is right now we need to create, build, and strategize because they want to take us back. Y'all ain't too cute to be picking cotton. I just saw a video the other day and I said, oh, this is not, I'm not interested. That was on my For You page teaching us how to pick cotton. And then you got the girls who, and it obviously won't be in the way that it was, but it'll be happening before you know it. To me, it would be more like Louisiana, New Orleans vibe, the French quarters where they were free, or like how Jamaica is. They were free to, as long as they were with a white man or white woman. That's how I personally feel like it's gonna be. You have to align yourself to kind of um get yourself out of that particular caste system. But there will be a particular caste system that will be taking effect. And you're gonna feel it immediately with this administration. So I say all this to say people need to understand that this all becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because the advertisers tell the audience what they want, so they promote poor quality stuff. This is why you will see the same shows, the same things on black networks. You either get comedy, award shows, urban gang related things, like family business on BET, because the advertisers say, okay, yes, we like it and we'll fund that. You'll get the Love and Marriage Huntsville, all the terrible Tyler Perry wigs and all the terrible Tyler Perry shows, but we not going to fund that, which is the love is, the ambition, showing us in a beautiful light of power, of authority, of success. Those are going to get canceled. Those are going to have lawsuits come after them. So you put that on because the algorithm says black people want more of that, when all reality, that's just what they're feeding to black people. They're not showing us anything else. So Roland calls cable news a tent pole, but you have this one flagship show and you build other shows around that tentpole. For example, Sweetie Pies was like reality humor, and then you'll build a bunch of other reality humor shows around that. Or think about shows like on We and Lifetime. They're all basically the same because advertisers are saying put that on because that's what they're willing to fund. So this can affect women as well, not just black women, because if they're only showing us Snap and all these killer shows and things like that of women doing these horrendous things, is brain rotting us, and they're not showing us how far we can go because you do what you see. You know better, you do better. When you see somebody have made it, if they did like a life story of the Supreme Court justice that just what was her name, the black one, let me look up her name. If they did a behind the scenes of her, that kind of stuff. And speaking of that, I've been watching more positive stuff. Like I'm watching Michelle Obama's Later Daters. It's a reality driven, but it's just so positive. You see, these are well to do, clean, good, wholesome media. It's not just that slapped together kind of drama. So I want to just remind you that black people are always a sure bet, but we have to be the validators and validating ourselves. We have to work on monetizing our culture as a collective power. So I thank you for being here today with your black eyeballs. It will take a 360 economic view that goes beyond the black community. For example, why do you think they used Jackie Robinson in the Negro League? He was getting so much talk of amazement. It was taken away from the major leagues. The best talent was in the Negro League. So they scouted for the best and got all the black men to go to the major leagues. After that, guess what? They basically killed the Negro League. And Roland Martin talks about this as well. He says white folks then saw the money coming in, and well, boy, oh boy, they wanted to take the talent and they wanted to take the eyeballs. And y'all go buy tickets and jerseys, and barely any black people are in the baseball league to this day. And there is no more Negro League. So where are all the black people who could play baseball? They gone. Because it was never supposed to be a sport for black people to be happy and healthy and grow wealth in anyway. They never wanted us in the sport. And they succeeded in keeping us out of the sport. So just think about that when you are thinking about where you send your black eyeballs. But again, I'm grateful that you sent your black eyeballs here. And just with that, I just want to say yesterday was Martin Luther King Day. So I guess this is a good segue as we celebrate Martin Luther King. And listen, the holiday for Martin Luther King was supposed to be a big deal, and all the black men were so happy when they got this holiday. This is a little nugget my stepdaddy told me. I don't know if y'all know this. So my stepdad said that the reason MLK never popped off the way it was supposed to, and that's a whole fight. If you guys look up Stevie Wonder's story and go down that rabbit hole of how he got MLK Day started, it ties in perfectly to what I'm talking about to this day about black media and our black eyeballs, okay? So what happened was my stepdaddy said MLK was supposed to be a big deal, and all the black men were so happy, but they started paying the white boys time and a half to come in. So guess what? All the black men went into work to get that time and a half, and that kind of watered down the holiday. So that's why MLK Day never got as big as it was supposed to be. I say all that to say, make sure you support your own, not just chasing the major leagues like that. How I tied that back to Jackie. So on my Pretty Political page, I did do a whole tribute today. So if you want more, you can follow me there as well. I know the link is in my link tree, and there's a link to Pretty Political on my bio, my main page bio of Give This Girl a Mic. But also you can just type in Pretty Politico, and I should come right up. So that's my other page. I finally got over 50 followers on there because you need at least 50 to go live. And I finally got 50 today. So I went live earlier today, which is why I'm going live on here a little bit earlier than usual. So yes, please follow me there so we can build both communities. Over here, we know you guys know I talk mostly pop culture, but over there, I'm gonna be talking about more straightforward political stuff. So if you guys want to know what I think about Trump and that whole thing, go over there. So to wrap it up, one last example that Roland gave was a man named Abe Saperstein, a white man. He drafted the Harlem Globetrotter player because, again, just like Jackie, the Globetrotters were all the rage. He wanted the Globetrotters to be a legitimate team with an all-star players because back then basketball was all white. It was also white. But what did they do instead? They drafted the best players and then they made a mockery of the team. They never made the Harlem Globetrotters a real team. Until this day, there was never a full black team. Yes, we have integration now, but where there was a solely all white teams back then, there has never been a solely all black team. And shout out to the allies like Abe Saperstein that tries to make things happen for us. So Also, here I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about um what's his name? Michael Jordan. So there was one team that was kind of a little bit black, but not really. And that was Michael Jordan. So Bob Johnson, if you see here, he was the first owner of a team called the Bobcats. And he sold the Bobcats to Michael Jordan, another black man. Again, this is about passing along the baton from generation to generation. That's what I'm doing for you guys today. I'm telling you guys about Roland Martin. Hopefully, you tell people about Roland Martin or Amanda Seales or somebody within, or Angela Rye or somebody within Black media that you respect, and you continue to pass the baton, because right now it's so important that we keep each other informed, because they're not going to tell us anything about anything anymore. So Bob Johnson owned the Bobcats. And what happened was Bob ended up selling the Bobcats. His wife early was Sheila Johnson. That was his ex-wife. So they both co-owned BET. And he sold it to Michael Jordan. And guess what Michael Jordan did? Yep, you guessed it. Sold it right back to the man. They now changed the name from the Bobcats to the Charlotte Hornets. But these are the two new owners of the Hornets. He just sold it not too long ago, for I believe it was $17 million, something to that effect. So yeah, it's back in their hands. So now effectively there's no black owners for any black sports teams that have majority ownership. He still owns a little portion of it, Mike Jordan, but he's not a majority owner. And this leads me perfectly to a doll who did just that. Okay? Who basically tried to create their own platform, create their own way, but they were kind of blindsided by what we talked about earlier that Tubi did to Living Color. I don't know if you guys remember the ever so lovely, bright tassel fairy Amina Mucciola. She was a YouTuber who I discovered circa 2017. She shares her bright fantasy and lovely apartment on her YouTube page where I fell in love, showing that it's okay to embrace your inner child. On season 1, episode 4, I watched a show called Glitter and Glam, the Lisa Frank story. That is like, it was so good, y'all. So she talked about what creating this space called Cloudland and watching her inner child with self-expression to come out, because she created this beautiful fantasy. As you guys look at the bottom, you can see here I have, let me take away the little caption. You can see it says Lisa Frank's bedroom versus my bedroom. That's what she had created for her Cloud Fairy room, and it was so Cloudland room, and it was so beautiful. She talks about how huge the conglomerate that is Lisa Frank recreated her Cloudland idea and effectively stole that childlike joy from her. Something that Lisa Frank has monetized so well, creating joy. We find that in reality, Prime's Lisa Frank story is anything but joyful. Lisa Frank's Tassel Fairy, Lisa of Lisa Frank's story was a dark, twisted story of how she became a conglomerate that monopolized joy. I mean, it was something else. When I saw that, it was crazy. And so, she talked about that in 2018, interactions began to stop. Oh, no, let me go back. It says, okay, on season 1, episode 4, one of the trapper keepers that she had, wait. She talked about her joy. She talked about her thing. And then she said, so Lisa Frank followed her and she was really excited. Well, for Tassel Feather, what started as some pretty dope nostalgia quickly turned into a nightmare. Oh, I guess she posted her Trapper Keeper. And then Lisa Frank said, cool, liked it. And she posted a shirt of herself and Lisa Frank. Lisa Frank began to follow her and they started becoming friends on social media. But then the interaction turned into a nightmare because in 2018, the interaction began to stop. And in September 2019, she got hit with all this Lisa Frank did a collaboration with hotels.com to create a dream suite, as you can see in the bottom, in the building directly across the street from Tassel Ferry, and managed by the same managers of the building that own Tassel Ferry's apartment. So they kicked Tassel Ferry out of her apartment, said she had to be out, and the day she had to be out was the opening of Lisa Frank's bedroom in the same apartment building next door. Ain't that crazy? So people assume she designed it because it looks so similar to Cloudland, but she didn't, and she didn't even get paid or brought in as a consultant on it. In October 2019, it was not nice. It was not nice and positive, and didn't represent her thought of brand. Management wanted them out on the same date, and the pop up that she was evicted in 2020. And then she thought it was ironic because Lisa Frank put up a Black Lives Matter support and movement. And so she commented saying, how you going to support Black Lives Matter when you basically got my black behind kicked out? And so something to Lisa Frank said she was very immature for replying that. And Lisa Frank basically denied any of the allegations against Tassel Ferry. So that was a lot of the things that was discussed. Something it says that something that Lisa Frank has been monetized so well, creating joy. We find that in reality, Prime's Lisa Frank story is anything but joyful. The story of Lisa Frank and Tassel Ferry has a sad ending. So Tassel Ferry, since then, I want to end this on a positive note. She did create a children's book. It's called Rainbow in Your Clouds, Self-Acceptance. She's now sharing her own artwork. She has her own style that's completely different from Lisa Frank's. She's working really hard to do something so that she can survive in this day and age, because small brands are being preyed upon by larger brands. Lisa Frank has rebranded and is currently thriving. She's, as you can see here, she's worked with Crocs, she's worked with the pop group BST, and they are currently reopening their headquarters. I'm telling you, it's a doggy dog world. The legacy of Lisa Frank seemed to be love, the heart and soul made behind the character, but what she displayed to Tassel Fairy was anything but love. Good art lives on past its maker. Just remember that. And that's the bottom line when it comes to this. I just had to tell you this little bit of a story. Sorry, I kind of butchered that because I was jumping over my notes. But yeah, the bottom line is what I've been saying all along. We have to support people like Tassel Fairy, because Lisa Frank ate this girl up, took all her idea and revamped, because Lisa Frank hadn't been heard about for years. She was null and void. And then this black little girl had revamped her whole stuff. She brought Lisa Frank back, a black girl. And the black girl literally got kicked out her home, can't even pay no bills. And she is the reason Lisa Frank came back from the underground, because Lisa Frank wasn't doing nothing but dust and pennies. And that's how she thanked that girl. So just remember, where our eyeballs go, their pockets get fat. The next thing, speaking of YouTubers, I had a lot to cover. This is stuff from last week and this week, guys. So this live is going to be a little longer than usual. That's why I got on a little earlier today, too, because I wanted to talk about all this stuff. I had a lot to go through. Speaking of YouTubers, one of my favorite is Diarra. You know, Diarra and Ken, D4L. They had a YouTube channel back in the day. And I love her because we share a birthday month, and like our birthdays are a day apart. And she reminds me so much of myself when I was young. Like, she just act just like a typical Aries, and I just love it. So she basically said that Ken, her little ex, is trying to get a bag over her. And Diarra and Ken apparently are at cahoots, are at odds with each other, because Ken apparently tried to steal $40,000 from Diarra. He took all the money out of her account for the DK4L LLC. So Diarra is suing Ken for a maximum of $100,000, because it was the $40K for some sponsorship and then some other tax penalties altogether. And after Ken, this all came after Ken changed his name from YouTube and Facebook from DK4L. And the thing is, I think Ken did it because Diarra had initially changed her Snapchat from DK4L to Diarra. So he figured he could do the same thing. But the difference is, she was the one putting in the work. She was the one who even created these pages. And if you see, most of the things that were getting out were De'Ara videos. And because he had stopped filming with her effectively after the whole cheating scandal, he stopped filming with her. So that's why she basically said, you can't just be coming up here trying to take money from me. This is just wrong. So that's why she's suing him, because once he changed that page from DK4L, which they still was making money off that YouTube page, because they still had their travels there, but he cleared and wiped off all that, started posting pictures of him and his new girlfriend, and took all their followers, and they still was making money off that page. So now you think this new girl gonna eat off my hard work and gonna come in with at least, I think they had like at least 250K, a quarter of a million followers on there. And now you think she gonna eat off me? No. So that's what I think prompted her to stop it, because she had let him get away with a lot of stuff for a lot of years. But I think that was the straw. Like, bro, he could have created his own new page, which he did, which didn't really do too much. But so I guess he was like, well, this page ain't doing too much. Let me go rename this, because she renamed her Snapchat. But that's not how this works, especially when you owe somebody money. You already owe her 40K plus the taxes on things. So after a few cheating scandals, the couple's relationship crashed and burned. De'Ara is really kind-hearted person. She's better than me. It kind of reminds me of what Steve Harvey said to Kiki, that she can't bring a man up to her level. And in this case, though they started evenly, her hustle was unmatched, and she couldn't get him to come up to her level in terms of hustle. Steve's words are also on my page. I posted, that's one of my first videos. I'll put the link of that video in my description bar. But also, my granddaddy used to say, everybody can't go where you go. And I think that's the hard lesson that De'Ara had to learn. And someone who is going places I never would have dreamed of, I'm sure he didn't even dream of, is a billionaire, Brian Johnson, whose goals are to live forever. He created the Don't Die movement. I think he is like the influencer of influencer right now, and has the world's most exclusive methods on food. He talked about taking magnesium, which I take, ashwagandha, which I take, which I take, and blood orange. I don't take that, but I have eaten blood orange before, at least in a drink or a cocktail. So I think adding those three things, he has some other methods too, but those three things I thought were really interesting. And if you get a chance to see, this man is trying to live forever. So now that Elon is in and Trump is in, I'm sure he's gonna be able to make that happen. I just had to throw this little one in there, which is really interesting to me this week. Lastly, I had to stop with my joy comes in the morning. Troubles, they don't last always, for there's a friend in Jesus. All right, so I come to you this week with my joy comes in the morning. Eventually, I want to have some something like that, but for right now, it's just me and my little vocals, my little sick vocals and that. My joy comes in the morning this week is none other than SZA and Drew Barrymore. Now, for our new segment, Joy Comes in the Morning, each week I'll share a story that uplifts and inspires. This week's is SZA's Full Circle Morning on the Drew Barrymore show. For those who don't know, SZA has a song called Drew Barrymore, and it was a nod to the actress and the awkward shy girl she once was. Seeing them together discussing fear, stress, and faith, it reminded me that healing is possible and that joy comes in the morning.
And anxiety comes in.
Yeah.
And so please, I want you to focus on faith, which is another form of trust and belief.
You hear that? Faith is another form of trust and belief. I loved it. I loved it. So that was my Joy Comes in the Morning clip for this week. And I just want to remind you that the two discussed faith as another form of pursuit. It's a full circle moment because SZA has a song called Drew Barrymore as an homage to the actor. The two discuss fear, stress, and anxiety exist, both sharing how their awkwardness became their superpowers. SZA and Drew Barrymore discuss the importance of believing in oneself and in continuing to ever evolve. SZA calls this her fumbling and finding season. And Drew says to focus on faith, which is another form of belief. A reminder that weeping may endure for the night, but joy, it comes in the morning. And I'll leave you with that. Here's my message. You never stop rediscovering yourself. That is the message of today. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I hope that you guys continue to discover yourselves, and love one another. Sorry, bring this up. Okay, it was supposed to be a picture there. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with this. Don't chase what's fleeting. Build what lasts. Whether it's your relationships, your career, or your legacy. Make it something that stands the test of time. Make sure that that's what it was supposed to be here, my little snap. Make sure that I don't think I can add it while I'm more here, can I? Let's see. I was gonna say make sure you add me on Snapchat because I just created a new Snapchat, but doesn't look like picture is there yet. Let me see if I can add it here. Joy comes in the morning. Troubles they don't last always. For there's a friend in Jesus who will wipe your tears away. Let's see. We almost had a perfect show. But okay, next week I'll add it because it's not going to let me add it now. But I did just create a Snapchat. It's Give This Girl a Mic if you guys want to go check out the Snap. That way you can see behind the scenes of me and what I'm doing, throughout the week leading up to this weekly live stream. Also, as you can see below in the ticker, I do have a Blue Sky, I have a Threads, I have an Instagram, but my main platform that I'm on is TikTok and Blue Sky. So I would say if you guys want to see daily dosage of what I'm doing, then go to TikTok and Blue Sky. Blue Sky, you can kind of get a stream of thought. I do a lot of live tweetings. It's right now I'm watching Later Daters. I haven't live streamed about the live tweeted about that, but I have live tweeted about the rhythm and flow, and also a lot of Love Island. All Stars is back on, so we'll probably talk about that a little bit next week. Also, if you guys want to see all my tweets that I tweeted during watching The Ultimatum or watching some other shows that I watch, you guys can go read on my random stream of thoughts there on my Blue Sky, because that's where I primarily post as of late. And then again, I do post on my TikTok here and there wherever I can. If you guys add me as friends, you can see some of the more private things that are friends only. So thank you guys again for joining me. And thank you for tuning in to Give This Girl a Mic. I'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. And remember, stay calm, stay classy, keep shining, and that you are the MVPs of your life, because you'll always maintain your morals, your values, and your principles. I love y'all. Thank you again. Good night. See you next week.